And it's okay that intros didn't make it on the recording. We all have fancy name tags in the community.
Thank you, Emma. So we'll continue with Chris and
Oh yeah.
the district updates, and then we'll.
Yeah. Funds for NRWI as of right now, the balance in the account is $37,311.90. It did generate 29 cents of interest in January. Woot woot. And I have moved in the municipal contributions from Wilton and New Canaan into the account. No other municipalities have made a contribution this year. I'm
But they're
not pointing
working.
any fingers at anybody. No
They're
finger pointing.
working on it. Yeah, little budgeting. Snap it.
Any questions on the finances? All right. Other stuff from the district is we've been managing some of the grant projects, which I think Jamie will give updates on in her report. Um, and I don't know that there's any, Jamie and I meet regularly and talk about projects, that sort of stuff from the district side of it. But I think you can get updates from the grants. I think that's okay. Jamie, I'll just jump in if there's something you don't remember on the grant project, but I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we actually have the grant projects listed separately from my update anyway. So a brief update on what I've been doing is a lot of it has been work in the Co-op and the Rain Garden grant for Norwalk. Basically, we just got our first round of revisions back and had a meeting with some consultants last week. And we're finishing up the second version of it now. So hopefully that will be completed soon. And then we can move on to the planning and neighborhood selection phase. Beyond that, Chris, I think I'm going to leave the other two grants for the next section, if that's okay. Okay. So beyond that, I've had some conversations with members, with Dick about mitten crabs and PFAS, and with Jeff, we've talked about some things related to the watershed-based plan update grant and historical records. I know there is also a meeting this week on Tuesday about outreach efforts in the Norwalk with USGS. Unfortunately, I ended up not being able to attend that because of a schedule conflict. So I'm going to defer to Nikki and Louise on that. Hopefully you guys will be able to talk about that in a little bit. But that's something that I will be attending for NRWI in the future. And then there's just one more thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Sorry, I'm going to have to share my screen for this. Okay. Are you guys able to see that? Okay.
YouTube
awesome.
link?
Yes. So sorry, that's the only tab you can see, right? I just want my computer's kind of chaotic. I want to make sure you're not
The
seeing
January 16th meeting YouTube link.
Okay, perfect. So I just wanted to go over this with you guys really quickly.
$61. That includes.
So I tried something a bit new here. It's something that I've been wanting to try for a while. And because I was not at last month's meeting, I thought this was a good opportunity to try it. So basically, if I expand here in the description section of the YouTube video, basically there is kind of a streamlined version of minutes here. So basically says just this is a regular recording, the date, who is present, and then it has a breakdown of our agenda with timestamps, so you can go directly to each of the sections, and then there's like a mini breakdown of each section there, and then some relevant links, and then the next meeting. So I just wanted to kind of see how you guys feel about this as kind of an option for kind of revamping the minutes to an extent, just because it is a bit simpler, but more importantly, I think it's more accessible to people. So what I would do is, if you guys are comfortable with this, and if not, we can also have a more formal documented version as well. But eventually I would put a link down here as well. I was debating if I should put the actual Zoom link, but I don't know if I trust bots and Zoom bombers. So maybe I'll just put my email and say, like, if you're interested in joining these meetings, reach out to me and I can provide you information. But I just wanted to see how you all felt about this. So wanted to take you through it.
Looks good
Yeah,
to me.
Jamie, this is Emma. This is really great. I think that it's definitely streamlined, and having those timestamps is a really awesome way to get the information, get it quick. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like it, especially as long as you're kind of just double checking the interpretation of the meeting. I don't know if there is a way to look if it. We use at City Hall, we use Zoom for our meetings, and Zoom also has kind of an AI analytics behind it that we don't use as a municipal agency. We can't use it for our minutes, but we use it as kind of a guideline. And I know with that you can correct it. It has had like a few misinterpretations every once in a while. So the only thing I would say is to just double check it, and hopefully I don't know if there's a way as the owner of it to if there is a misinterpretation way to correct it. But I think it's fantastic, certainly a time saver.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm just to respond to that, I'm doing this like manually. So there shouldn't
you're doing this manually.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay.
So there shouldn't be those problems, but if there are, I am able to edit it.
Okay. You're fine. You know what you're doing. Okay. I thought it was an AI generated synopsis, which is also available out there.
And Jamie, just curious, would you continue to do the typical meeting minutes and then this in addition, or would you be looking to transfer most of the meeting minutes into this new format going forward?
So ideally I would transfer them to this. So just there's also a public record of it. But if you guys are more comfortable with me also putting out a document version, that's definitely something that I can consider doing as well.
Okay, thank you. Just curious.
Yeah, just to add to the conversation, like I don't feel that there's any legal or obligation for this group to have printed or published minutes because it's not a municipality like Alexis mentioned, etc. So this is probably the streamlined approach, and will save some of Jamie's time on the minutes. So that would be my thought.
Yeah, agreed. I think this is great.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing now. And that is everything I have for updates. So
Do you want me to talk about the other grants real quick, or?
yeah.
So there's not a lot of update on the grant with Sea Grant and the watershed-based plan. Ty and Bond is working on a QAP for that. There's been some back and forth that I've been CC'd on. I'll be honest, I haven't looked at it a whole lot because I don't want to review a QAP document that I don't have to. I'm sure some people will agree with that position. And then, so once that's done, they will start doing some of their outreach and looking at documents, etc. And I know that they were going to have like a public meeting on that at some point as well. So certainly keep the group posted on that, and they will be coming back to this group to give updates as well. The other active grant is the Long Island Sound Futures Fund grant, where we're doing green stormwater infrastructure with municipalities. New Canaan is getting ready to move forward. We're doing concept designs on their chosen sites. Westport has chosen a site as well, and Fairfield had chosen 2 sites that we're trying to see if we can budgetarily do them both. We're still waiting on the other 2 municipalities in the project, which is Norwalk and Wilton. But ready to move forward on installation once those sites are selected. And the Yukon folks are doing like sort of enhanced concept design work, and then the district will hire a subcontractor to do installation at the selected project sites. And we would be handling all of the billing, et cetera. So there's not an added responsibility for the towns.
Norma, we're still working on buttoning that up.
Yeah, no worries. Nobody's putting anything in the ground this month anyway, so you have time.
No, that's true.
And that's all I have for grant updates. I don't know if anybody has any questions on those 2 projects.
That's good.
Amy, did you have anything else? Oh no.
Nope, that sounded good to me.
Oh, Jeff.
Chris, about the grant for the update of the plan. Do you have a sense of when that might start? Or is that
they're not going to start doing any work until the QAP is approved. So I've seen some commentary where the QAP turnarounds are like 3 or 4 weeks when EPA gets them, but that's all hit or miss too. So I don't have a good. I can only speculate. Sorry, Jeff.
Well, Jamie was good enough to send a copy of the scope of work or the proposal from the consultant, and they talk about monthly virtual meetings with project coordination meetings. Would those involve members of this group or and then they talked about in the scope, I think 4 stakeholder meetings over the course of the 2-year project.
Yeah, those are like.
Trying to think,
Go ahead.
Trying to think ahead of how we would be involved with this, but that I guess that's my main question. And I noticed in the scope that the principal focus is updating the goals and the vision statement that they talked about. And as part of that, I would think the Harbor Commission in the Harbor Management Plan, we have a statement of water quality related goals and implementation measures. And we also put together a coastal vision statement. So, I think we would want to be a part of the project team, involved with that. And so does the Shellfish Commission want to be that the update should take into consideration the shellfish resources, because that's why the plan was a big impetus for the plan years ago. So anyway, we look forward to participating in that. And I mentioned to Jamie, I've sent some of the materials that we had from years ago when we started, the public information materials when we first started the work. Sorry, I haven't sent more, Jamie. I just been overwhelmed with some stuff, but I'm trying to put together a good background of all the work that we did to start this so that the consultants understand where we came from. But anyway, we look forward to participating in the process as the best we can, in the best organized way we can.
Yeah, I'm sure that the folks at Time Bond will give this group updates as they move forward. There just hasn't been a lot of action because they're waiting for that QAP finalization. So they're not doing like the writing or the technical pieces or anything like that until that document's completed and approved.
But it seems that most of the work has to do is like might call it like a tabletop exercise. They're not doing new scientific investigations or sampling. They're looking at the existing policies and proposing to update those. And I think many of us have a better sense or just as good a sense of how to do that as they do.
Yeah.
So we look forward to providing the input.
Yeah, no, I think they're definitely willing to accept input from folks on the ground because you're right. They're not going to come down to like the city of Norwalk and walk around the city and go along the river, et cetera. The budget's not big enough to cover that, to be totally frank. And they are looking for project sites where projects could be implemented and updating that list, because that's kind of like a hit list of things that we could then apply for funding to implement, right? So that's what's probably the most valuable piece of these watershed plans on our front. So that's definitely something we've
Very good
stressed to
point.
them in our meetings.
And typically for a watershed-based plan, that's really focused on what's the 319 elements of, whatever pollutant has placed a water body on the impaired waters list, right?
Yeah, that they're definitely making sure it hits all the points for the 319 and the 9-element plan, and doing those updates as possible with like Jeff mentioned, a focus on the water quality components and the project sites. So, and I'm sure, and any information that this group can share with them will make the dollars of the grant stretch a little bit further on their terms of having their staff doing research and things like that.
And another I think important thing to think about is how does the plan get implemented? We talked about the role of this committee in responding to projects in the waterfront or applying, the goals and vision, and it's essentially a volunteer on the part of the communities involved. But what is how do we make this an implementable plan and moving forward and talking about such things as resiliency and dealing with projects that affect the watershed and the review of them. And I was going to bring that up later on. I'll wait to do so, but using the DOT's project at the Merritt Parkway and Route 7 interchange. I wanted to ask again about the status of that, but is there a role for the goals and policies of the watershed-based plan to be applied to the review of a project like that, and who does that? But those are implementation questions that we'll get to, I guess, at some point. But thanks, Chris and Jamie.
This is Mike Conklin. I just want to say, I think ultimately we're going to work on controlling the controllables, like whatever fleshes out from this plan and in each of the municipalities that we're located in. If there's things that we're able to control and work on, we will, but that doesn't necessarily mean we'll have to it seems like, Jeff, you always bring up what the state is doing, pointing at the state of Connecticut. And I think what we have to do is start working on the positive changes we can make as municipalities and as public interest groups in each of the municipalities.
Well, no, I agree, Mike. And one of the changes we did make with the state was the redesign of the refurbishing of the Yankee Doodle Bridge, which started out as not doing anything to deal with stormwater management, and then as a result of community involvement, revise those plans. So yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
Any other questions about any of the ongoing grants that Chris and Jamie both reviewed? All right, so we'll move into kind of continued business, and if anyone wants to jump in and give an update, just jump in.
This is Chris. I'm going to prod Nikki for an update on the Urban Waters Norwalk branch.
We have signed our portion of the contract. There is still some waiting to be done. And so there's no new update there, unfortunately. But I will say we're coming in on the final stages of our long-term data analysis project, which I'm sure you've heard me mention over the last 2 years that we've been working on. But I was wondering actually if maybe next month I could present some of that data to you guys. And then we have some outreach materials too that I can give to all of the different municipalities within the watershed that they can distribute on their own. Plus we'll have these big formalized summaries as well that our direct town partners will get copies of, but I could definitely present what we found to this group. It would be a great audience for that. So if that is welcomed, I'd be happy to do that.
Absolutely. Yes,
Cool.
please.
You know what my question always is, Nikki?
If you're asking about DNA, Jeff, I promise you will know.
I know. I'm just sort of
You will
making a
know when
joke.
I have any more information. Yeah, I can't collect anything until there's actually bacteria to collect data on. There's no bacteria in the wintertime, especially with all this ice. The concentrations are so low. So you will know when I know, I promise.
It came up at a discussion with the Bureau of Aquaculture people at last week or the week before at the gathering of shellfish commissions. We're talking about sources of pollution that would affect shellfish beds, and talk that we're trying to advance the knowledge and our ability to identify the sources. But thank you, Nikki. I'm just teasing
no,
in a way.
we're trying to get there. It's very expensive, so we have to be very particular with when we decide we're going to grab a sample, because we want to make it the most useful data that we could possibly make it for the exorbitant cost that it is.
And just to loop back to what Nikki was saying with the Urban Waters Initiative contract, it is moving forward. Nikki is correct. Her team, as well as Deep's team, has signed and executed that portion of the copy. The next step is it getting sent to our Attorney General's office, where they will finally do the final signature, and then Harbor Watch can have the green flag to move forward with it, and we're really excited to get started. So we're definitely gonna hopefully see that by the end of the month. Fingers crossed, if not the beginning of March. So that's what the timeline's looking like right now, and Nikki and I will continue to give you updates as the project gets going. So we're excited.
Well, I'll add that the Maritime Aquarium had received Long Island Sound Future Funds in I think it was the 2022 cycle. The years fade. And for looking at a feasibility study off the southern shoreline of Veterans Park in Norwalk to look at what kind of offshore habitats are there and how potential actions within the park might impact those that habitat, and what really looking at kind of the options for improving that shoreline environment. And that is just about finished. We have a final report, and we're doing the very end of edits, and hope to release that feasibility report any day now. And then once that is done, the city is going to be sending out an RFP to look at the entire park. So we'll be looking for a consultant to help us do a deep dive into improvements across the park that would benefit both public access and the coastal environment.
Alexis, so whoever the next group is, they'll just use the feasibility study as part of the overall park plan? Got it.
Yes. And so the city has been waiting to do its own RFP, in part because we decided that we really want to have that feasibility study of the offshore components as an appendices of our RFP to really inform the potential consultants that are considering bidding on the project, to make sure that they understand what our kind of initial priorities are. Any other updates? Yeah, sorry.
Does that report get adopted or approved, or who accepts it, or who does it go to the city, or to your office in some way?
There's no approval process. So it was a feasibility study done by the Maritime Aquarium with a Long Island Sound Future Funds grant. So there's nothing that would be formally adopted or approved.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing updates? Sorry, my internet randomly went out, so I lost you guys.
Yes, please
Um,
update.
I have a little bit of an update. It's a tangent, but the Norwalk River is at the center of it. So we have a bill in this legislative session to restrict the use of neonicotinoids, and really it's founded very much on all the data we have on the Norwalk River. So we had a public hearing yesterday, so that's why it's still in my brain, and I think it went well. We have, you know, we may have won a battle and not the war, but yeah, we had good testimony from fishermen, from the Fisheries Advisory, from Trout Unlimited. We had like 700 written testimonies in favor online. So that was just like, and there's just a lot of public support for it. And it's really the data that we have on the Norwalk River for these past 30 years, plus what DEEP has done on the microinvertebrates that, we have something this year for the first time. So it's feeling different. So anyway, and the report that, or the testing that Dick did last summer was also part of what we could talk about. So I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah.
Louise, what is the deadline for written comments on the bills that were heard by the Environment Committee yesterday?
You can still put them in. You can still do it. Do you want me to send you the link?
Well, I'm thinking about some other bills, but
I know the harbor management bill. I heard all the testimony on that. You're in favor of that?
Pardon me?
You're in favor of that, right?
Well, we helped write it, but
Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah, I heard your name come up
But the
yesterday.
question is that, the deadline for submitting written comments, and what we heard back from some of the legislators' office is that, as long as the bill hasn't been voted out of committee, it's still.
It's still, yeah,
So
definitely.
do you think that by Monday of next week would still be do you expect?
Oh, I think you're safe. Yeah. Because I
Good.
feel like it's going to take them a little while.
Thank you.
But
Thank
but I
you,
mean,
Louise.
I don't know when they're going to vote it out of committee, but yeah, I think you have time.
Well,
That's-
Louise, they'd have to have a meeting to hold the
Yeah, they
votes,
have to
right?
have a
So
meeting. And I
they'd
don't
have to
think
be in
they
a,
have, yeah, I don't think they have a meeting until definitely next week, like the 26th or
yeah,
something.
they're usually regular, like every Thursday or something, right?
Yeah.
So whatever their next regular environment committee is posted on their like meeting schedule, if you're done before then, you're probably safe because they can't do a vote without having a meeting.
Thank you, Chris. A lot of towns are scrambling now to get comments in uh, by the whatever the deadline is. So we're working towards the beginning of next week. And then I don't mean to take the time, but Louise, and I'm supposed to be there yesterday, but we were working to prepare for Senator Wong's remarks. But was the hearing organized a little bit better than in the past, or was it just according to so you had to people would have to sit through hours of testimony until their
I was
name was
there. I
called.
was there till 9 p.m. Yeah.
It wasn't
Um,
organized according to the bills, which is
no,
interesting.
it's
Yeah,
random. You can get
thank
it
you.
on YouTube though. I can send you the
Yeah.
link if you want to watch it.
Well, yeah, thank you. Let's watch the beginning.
Any other updates?
Just a couple resources to share. Long Island Sound Study completed a project with Yukon Clear. It's ArcGIS map, and it is titled Connections to Long Island Sound Story Map, and it basically shows the people and an overall encompassing idea of the Long Island Sound Study, as well as its watershed. So I'm going to share that with you all just to review. They do in-person interviews at the end of the story map with people in Bridgeport, as well as all the way up into New Hampshire. So it's a really well done story map. I just wanted to share with you all. And then I also was curious if anyone else had heard, and because we have someone here from Trout Unlimited, I believe, that C. lamprey had returned to the Norwalk River after 125 years of absence. Yeah? Awesome.
Yes, I've seen
Just wanted to
them.
share that. That's awesome. Congrats. Congrats to you and your team. So just wanted to share that. Thanks.
John, can you bring one to the next meeting?
I'll do my best. I'll wrangle one up. Yeah, I can give a quick little update. We mentioned last meeting, Gerald is hosting a watershed walk on the 22nd this Saturday. It's at Jensen Field. The event is still going on, and I'm also doing a presentation at, I think starts at 12:30, the Reading Grange, a little bit about water quality. That's an event, a mini environmental summit is what it's called. So looking forward to that as well. So those are the
I'm
updates.
coming to those, John. I'll see you there.
Perfect. Looking forward to meeting you in person. Okay, that's everything. Any questions?
John, forgive me. A couple weeks ago, I was running in Waveney Park, and I stopped into the mansion, and someone from I believe from Trout Unlimited, was preparing to give a presentation on water quality, and I had a very nice conversation with him for a bit. Do you know who that was? Because I forgot his name, and he said he's participated in these meetings before.
Probably Gerald. It wasn't me, so it might have been Gerald.
It was. I know it wasn't you because you didn't have a beard, but I think it was Gerald. But after I couldn't stay for the presentation, but we had a really nice talk, and Nikki had included talk about the microbial source tracking, not your work, but in general. I'll respond to him, and thank you, John.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Is that it for updates? Okay. Any new business?
Just
Jeff
Alexis, maybe it's old business. I'm sorry, but I couldn't make the meeting last week. But I think the month before, you said that you might be able to get more information about the status or the schedule for the work at the Route 7 and Merritt Parkway.
Yeah,
It was
I don't remember. I do remember soon the day after that meeting, finding some materials and reviewing, and that has since been replaced with a lot of other things that I've done. So
just wondering what the status of the permitting is. I mean, in the newspaper article, it talked about beginning the work this year, assuming all the permitting was in place, and that sort of seems optimistic. But
yeah, I mean, that would all be state permitting.
Yes.
And I have not kept track of that.
Right.
But I haven't seen any new notices or any new information come across my desk either.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. So I think the next meeting is scheduled for next month, which will also land on the 20th, March 20th, which is the third Thursday, 2 o'clock. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care,
everybody.
everyone.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.